The Jagdpanzer E100 is a German late-war abomination of a tank. This vehicle has an E100 hull, as it says in the name, and you can clearly see just by the design of this tank. It's got an E100 hull, which means it's got very good frontal armor, great side scraping capabilities, and it's also got super good superstructure armor. It's almost like you got the E100 turret, and then you just mounted it and bolted it to the roof of the tank. So it's got this super sturdy superstructure with a 170mm armament capable of ruining anybody's day. I'm very confident in real life if this vehicle actually ever saw action, if it was able to connect a shell frontally to any vehicle, it would destroy it in one swift swoop. However, this is World of Tanks Blitz, and Blitz is very different to real life. Although, thankfully, in Blitz, this would probably do a lot better than it would in real life, because there's no artillery, there's no planes, there's no bombers. So why do people not really think very highly of the Jagdpanzer? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, I actually think this is a very, very fine vehicle. Let's talk about the strengths and the weaknesses of this tank. Well, let's first off start with the weaknesses. It's slow. It only goes 30 kilometers per hour, 12 in reverse. And that means that if this tank gets caught out in the open, it's a very easy opponent to shoot at because you got these massively weak track wheels that you can penetrate. You got a huge lower plate. You can penetrate the superstructure. As well, the sides of this vehicle are incredibly thin, and the rear of the tank as well. This is a super easy tank to get behind, which doesn't really go all too well for it. Because it's basically a super heavy, it also has an absolutely horrific camouflage rating, meaning that you get detected through almost any bush that you are trying to sit in. So it does have a lot of disadvantages as well because you have such a high alpha at 800. Even though you have good DPM, if you miss your shot, you still do have to reload for another 16 seconds before you can get another shell ready. However, now we go on to the flip side. What is good about this tank? Well, it has massive amounts of armor. Frontally, you can actually get a lot of bounces in this tank, and you're going to see that in the replay that I'm going to show you. This vehicle's armor actually works very well. Because it has a mounted superstructure, really if you just angle the vehicle at the correct angle, you will get a lot of bounces. In fact, people that don't run calibrated shells will struggle a lot to cut through your frontal armor. Not to mention, as I said, it's actually got a pretty solid amount of damage per minute. If you're running gun rammer, it's over 3,000, and base with calibrated on, which I love running, is 2,984. You have basically the same reload as an E100, yet 140 more damage per shot. That's pretty great. Your HE does 1,200 damage a shot, which is absolutely ridiculous. So this vehicle does have a lot of good things going for it. It's quite accurate at a very good aiming time with your dispersion at 0.285. Obviously, I am running the dispersion over running vertical stabilizers because I'd rather have this vehicle aiming to the fullest of its extent. But here we go. Let's get into the replay. Now, earlier today, I made a video talking about the Object 263, which is a very mobile tank destroyer. We were able to easily pull out a 7,500 damage victory. This game of the Jagdpanzer, funny enough, is another very high damage game, and it can showcase, well, sure, you may not have mobility, you don't always need mobility to win a game. You do need to have some prediction skills and know how to play your tank, but you're going to see just how well the Jagdpanzer works in this game. Now you're going to notice the STB in front of me is a bit of a troll. In fact, he tried trolling me for a big majority of the beginning of this battle. Just drives in front of me and he says like Merry Christmas or something. I mean, I didn't really care that much. I think he's done it before to me. But yeah, basically, at the beginning of this game, I was quite irritated because I was platooning with a friend, pretty good player at that. And, yeah, I mean, we were trying to come out with wins. Obviously, Tier 10, Tier 9, Tier 8, I don't care too much if I don't do great in. But Tier 10 is just one of those tiers that I try to keep my average damage and my win rate above, my specified region that I try to get. Unfortunately, when you have players like this on your team, it seems that battles can end very, very quickly. Now, you'll notice the enemy team has all of their vehicles spotted right in the front. So we got the Chieftain Mark 6, WZ-113, we got the Super Conqueror, and a 62A. That's a lot of vehicles. And I'm noticing, oh shoot, my AMX M4 and Hori, yeah, they are, they're not going to be doing all too well right now. Maybe this STB thought that it was a loss already, so it was a waste. But here we go, one big shot into that 62A, a perfect roll of 800, and with that, half of that guy's health is gone. Now with one standard shell, that 62A will be, on average, killed by my vehicle. The Jagdpanzer has this bad nostalgia of low-rolling every shot, although weirdly enough for me, I don't actually seem to low-roll all that many shells. But as you can see, my Hori just got lit on fire, he's taken out, and there goes my AMX M454. So in this scenario, I was thinking, oh crap, what am I going to do? This is a 1 versus 4 basically over here. I mean, sure, I got my teammate in the IS-70s trying to hold up on the bridge, but they have 7 tanks left, and we've got 4. That's not really all too great. Well, thankfully, the Super Conk might just be getting a shell right into his vehicle. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting patiently. There's the WZ-113, and because I'm running calibrated shells, the reason why I am running it, I was actually able to overmatch his upper plate. Now, we've got the 62A coming off to the side, and you'll notice I prioritize shooting at this T-62A over shooting those other heavies. So here we go, 62A. Oh, he drives into me, which causes him to die. Obviously, when you weigh 140 tons, that's something that will happen. I managed to perfectly snap that shell into the Super Conk's track wheel. Now you can see him ramming him. Because of that, I've managed to actually break his track, and he can't repair it, as you can see. So I've done that. He's locked in position. I'm going to get another roll into his vehicle, and oh, we got our precision fire to go off, which means it's a 920 max roll. So we finish off the Super Conk. Now we're sitting at 1,480 damage dealt, or not dealt, blocked. 3,400 dealt. And funny enough, when we shot that WZ-113, we actually killed his driver, which means that he couldn't turn around. So now we shot a shell into the rear of the WZ-113, trying to ram him, hoping that this ram kills him, but weirdly it didn't. It just kind of like pushed him along. So I wasn't super happy about this because I needed to finish off this guy with, well, as you can see, a shot, which I didn't want to do because now I have a Mark 6 on my side, turning my vehicle again. Oh god, he gets a very high roll into me. Now we're sitting at 205 health. Now, thankfully, I do have a very beefy alpha. So even if I die here, hopefully my heat, oh, it ricochets. That really sucks. Now, my teammate is coming over to help me, and he still does have at least a decent chunk of health left. But as you can see, I am trying my best to angle to make sure this guy can't pen me. I'm going to load in an AP shell, and boom, right into the engine deck, finishing off the Chieftain Mark 6. Now we're at 5,700 damage dealt and 2,200 blocked. We've a Jagdpanzer and another Jagdpanzer left, plus an enemy FE2 and 5B 183. Now, thankfully, because this STB, even though he's kind of doing nothing useful, distracted that enemy Jagdpanzer, we were able to slap a big 800 damage shell into the rear of his vehicle. And it seems like his platoon mate did not notice that I managed to do that, so yeah, he just didn't push on me. I was able to plop on my adrenaline and reload an entire shell. So this Jagdpanzer over here, I'm a little bit worried about it at this point. My teammate's obviously going to finish off the enemy 183. I just want to make sure the shell connects, so there you go, beautiful shell, angling it. Oh, he misses. Yes, 7,456 damage dealt, and this is going to be one crazy victory. Too bad I should have told my teammate not to shoot that Mark 6, because I didn't see him there, but I easily could have dealt over 8,000 damage in this battle. But there you go, folks, 7,700 damage dealt in the Jagdpanzer E100. And this was a crazy game. I mean, you can see where vehicles, unlike the 263, can still do very well. I might not have all that DPM, and sure, the 263 does work very well because of that damage per minute. But honestly, I don't think I would have won this battle if I was in an Object 263, or even another heavy tank. The Jagdpanzer, because it had that alpha, because I had that sheer stopping capability of scaring the enemy, they just couldn't deal with me. Now, obviously, yes, the enemy team is bad, and you guys are going to type that in the comments. They were noobs, blah, blah, blah. But I'd like to see you do a 7,700 damage game in a Jagdpanzer. It's not that easy. The Jag is a fun tank, and if you run it correctly, you can get out some incredible games. So hopefully, all of you enjoyed today's video. The main reason I wanted to post this video was to really showcase that almost any tank can be played well. And you should not 100% use any YouTuber's opinion when it's either my opinion or any's on a tank being good or bad. Make sure that you watch a lot of opinions and you formulate one on yourself. That is why a lot of people always wonder why I don't really make a bad tank review. I mean, like when I reviewed the TS5, I said he was an okay tank, but I usually don't call many tanks bad because in a good player's hands, and I know that's an argument, but in a good player's hands, almost any tank can be played well. So you could play a vehicle like the Jag and be in a very bad scenario like that, and sure, the average player will do terrible in this tank. But because I was able to use its strengths, mitigate the weaknesses, we came out with an absolutely wonderful victory. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.